You have a production in a television background. You probably notice that a lot of people are all over the internet are their own cameramen. It probably drives you crazy because the lighting, the framing, and the construction of the shot is all wrong. But at the same, so what do you tell your cameraman? Just get the shot no matter what, or please let's have this network framing, network headroom.
Yeah, we do have to some of that training at the beginning.
I know.
Our guys and gals are pretty quick. You know, they know the idea of how to frame because, of course, they learn from still cameras. And in large part, you shoot a still camera just like you shoot a video camera. Lighting's all the same, framing's all the same, etc. So really, the learning curve is more of when it comes to the editing part of it. To edit a story, to tell that story, and to be able to bring the music in and everything like that. But again, we've got some amazing talent there. They've picked right up on. I'm so dang proud of how fast that they start producing these stories. And the two, it's like from a news reporter that's used to writing for a newspaper or television, they seem like they can intermix so well. And so we've had either we're very fortunate, or I think that, these folks are just, at the end of the day, they're pretty darn talented. The news people out there they're crafty, they're smart, they're quick learners, they are, people that are interested, they want to know, which is what drives them. Sometimes it's like, my gosh, I know that person was out there at 3 a.m. and I'm there at 8 and he's in there or she's in there, editing away. That kind of, whatever that is, that spirit in them that drives them, I always take my hat off to them. They do a wonderful job.
A news story goes by so quickly, sometimes less than 60 seconds is the whole thing. And there can be a lot of content in that less than 60 seconds. What people may not be able to appreciate, Kelly Ryan, who's the CEO of Fiber One News, is how long it takes to put together a minute report. It might take most of the day.
Yeah, it can. Most of the stories, and again, they've gotten pretty good at it. Most of our reporters can do 2 to 3 a day. But you're right. Sometimes it's funny, Michael. It's more of those stories about the heroes, about those kinds of stories seem to take longer than just the informative, hey, the sheriff's department's down here, this event just happened, and you're just, you're kind of covering it linearly versus kind of doing a mini documentary on this person and why they're doing what they're doing and what drives them. And then stock footage, e-stock, all those kinds of things takes a little more in production. You
have a new audience and it's growing. What are the people who watch your content every day, what are they telling you?
You're going to be blown away, I think. I'm still consistently blown away with the audience. But number one, right now, and again, it's fascinating. We don't know who they are, but we know a lot about them. And again, it goes with the whole thing of privacy that, we know where basically when somebody comes in, and I know you guys probably have the same technology that our medias do, we're just utilizing Google and stuff. But at the end of the day, we know that right now our largest audience are young women. They're the ones following that Fiber One News. And it's that age bracket of moms that, you're talking about, like that young age of 24 up to, and the next one, of course, is, actually below 18, but, it goes 24 up to about 45, up to 50 is, they are the largest audience of folks that are following us. And iFiber One has just exploded. We're close to right now about 800,000. And it's not really you say followers, but really people that follow iFiber One News here across the state and really outside the state. So it was, Michael, it was never designed to do that. It was more designed kind of to accompany iFiber One or Channel One, which is why it's iFiber One News, and this whole thing has just exploded into really it's a whole other entity now. And it is, by on paper as well, but, as far as how it's run and what it does. My input as CEO is, really at the end of the day is just to make sure they got the resources and stay the heck out of the way. So I spend more time in expanding on iFiberCom, which then by doing that expansion, we're also, not iFiber Communications, I meant by iFiberCom. It allows for iFiber One then to come right on the heels of that, and, we continue expanding that way.
Now, for the last couple of months, your company and our company, KPQ and Cherry Creek Media, have been what we call news partners. What does that mean to you?
It's how it should be. It's how we then, some of our stories we share with you, and you post it, give credit to it. We take some of your stories and we're posting and doing the reciprocal of it. It allows us, because again, you're a radio station, but all of us are in small communities and we all have limited resources. This seems to be the most logical way that, I'm not now just one company, now I'm two. or on 3 companies, because there's 3 entities there that are sharing the news, and all of their resources are out there covering some of this. And so it allows us, I think, to give a far, bigger, far more accurate picture of really what's happening in our communities. So we love it. We're open access. Fundamentally, that's how the very DNA of what iFiber is at the end of the day, these PUDs have built this amazing infrastructure. It's built on open access. That means anybody can become a service provider. And iFiber was built from, born and bred by the PUDs is how I look at it. So we feel that broadband is the future utility. That is, we think it is now. So it allows us to be able to bring this far bigger, far better picture and then partner with the same philosophy as what open access is, and net neutrality. We now partner with radio stations and newspapers to share all those resources, just again, like we do in an open access environment.
And we're in a situation where a number of rural communities are tied together by sort of a psychographic. They live in central Washington. They have, you would think, similar needs, similar wants, similar interests, but that's not always the case. Just a few short miles apart, people have different interests, different pursuits, different industries take root. And following all that, where they're limited in the way they can get their news, it opens up an interesting market that's probably going to be repeated. What you're doing right now, I would think, would be repeated in rural markets all across the West and beyond.
Well, we think so, because right now, iFiber, this year, I think, is the real coming out for iFiber, in that we are I'm presenting at 4 different places across the nation. Open access is absolutely on fire. And, there's over 2,000 communities right now that are looking at possibly going to an open access environment. The biggest thing they're looking for, though, are really solid service providers that can become those anchor tenants. And so when we show up and they can see that, we're highly respected in our marketplaces, we are very solid. We're in 8 different counties right now in the state of Washington. So we cover the entire state from state line to state line, east and west. But allows us then to bring along with that the iFiber One endeavor, and allow us then, whether it's a smaller piece or a larger piece, we've kind of got it all pretty well figured out, how many reporters it's going to take and what kind of resources it's going to take. But iFiber One is absolutely joined at the hips as we expand and continue this open access and the sharing of news, kind of like what we do in, how we do our internet and our television and our telephone services in local communities. Now we can do the same thing and kind of bring that same philosophy to open access news, if you will.
You're probably still running off the energy you put together when you did your startup. What do you think is going to be the next step, and or can you make those sort of decisions based on what you've learned so far?
I do. We've already been awarded a contract that we've not made public yet, but iFiber Communications and iFiber One is now going outside the state of Washington. And we're about to expand into 4 new states, 4 states new to us. We're going to go outside of our Washington border. And I think iFiber is just the beginning of what's about to happen here. But open access, like I say, is on fire. It's the direction that the city municipalities that are wanting to build have really given up on the telcos to do anything, and they don't want to be reliant on the telcos to control such an important asset as what the community's network it really is, that they're now looking to build their own, but they don't really want to be that third monopoly. So they're looking for solutions on how can they make this, but guarantee it's going to work, but make it available, and it's open access. So that's really, Michael, iFiber is about to go nationwide. How strange is that to say? We're a little company born and bred right here in central Washington, but we are literally, it's on fire, and iFiber, we've got another MOU right now for another 6 projects that take us, like I say, into 4 different states that we're now in final stages of closing on.
Well, I didn't expect that. Thank you for that. I guess that's breaking news then, although we haven't quite got the details. I'll rely on you for those. Not yet,
but we will have them out shortly. We have the award. We're going into, in fact, we're flying down. This particular project will be in Texas, and we'll be flying down there next week to kind of cinch up all the final details on it, and then press releases that come on the heels right of that.
And will your formula be the same, a combination of entertainment, news, and all the products that you're offering now?
What we do here is what we're going to do there. Exact same thing. Open access, provide amazing, quality products, be that 3rd, 4th, 5th choice, in that market that, allows the consumers to have choice. be successful in the open access environment, work very, very hard to earn that community's respect and trust in their business, and then bring in whatever elements of iFiber One that's necessary in order to accommodate what's there and partner with those news resources that are already in place.
Well, you've mentioned one state. The great state of Texas is one of the places where you're expanding. Can you name another? Do you dare?
I don't want to go too far out. Let's just say that it's a wide range from Central America, Central United States, and then Southeast as well.
Okay.